David is a real person, and we have met in person, and we've also gotten married. But has he been honest with me? I question my own, my relationship, my marriage. David and I met on Facebook in January of 2017. I am 50 years old. David is around 42. I was attracted to him. I thought he was a nice looking guy. And we just started chatting every day, and we would check in with each other multiple times during the course of the day. I completely fell for David because he was a man of God, and he was a person I could really talk to, and it just drew me to him. It took David about a month to tell me that he loves me. 10 months into our relationship, David needed $200 because he was trying to get a job. He was trying to work, so he needed to go and apply. He needed to travel, put in applications. It did start becoming a pattern of money every other week. We needed money for a passport, for a driver's license. David needed money because the small apartment that he was living in, the roof started leaking, and he did have to go through some testing and training, so I did help him with that too. As a single parent, I was working long hours so that I could send him the money, a total of about $10,000. I was sending David money because he needed to get a job, because our plan was to hire an immigration attorney. David has been trying to get a visa, but because he couldn't come to the U.S. I finally flew to Nigeria. 5 days after I arrived, David and I went to the registry to get married. I married a Nigerian man, and I want to know if he's a fraud.
Their Nigerian wedding was 2 years ago, and Sherry said she's still waiting for her husband to come to the States. Sherry says he was supposed to come to America and marry her again in front of her family. That hasn't happened yet. But after multiple attempts to get a visa, David is still 6,000 miles away in Nigeria. Sherry says she's growing suspicious, especially after she sent him $1,600 for a visa she says turned out to be fake.
I've sent David money for 3 visas. The first time David applied, there was some type of discrepancy with a number that was incorrect. So the interview had to be rescheduled. When David rescheduled the interview, they declined him because David tried to apply for a tourist visa, and the officer told him that he needs to apply for a spousal visa. The third time David told me he applied for a visa, he claims that his cousin knows a military police that works at the embassy that can help him to get a visa, but they needed more money. First, he said it was $980, and a couple months later, he told me that it was $1,850. For that visa, I sent David maybe a total of $1,600. I was feeling frustrated, and I asked David, could I see the visa? It took a while, but he finally did send me a snapshot of it. When I finally saw the visa, something just didn't look right. So I just sent a copy of it to the U.S. Embassy and asked them, was the visa a real visa or not? A U.S. consular lady told me that the visa that I have is handwritten in, and their visas are printed out. The day that I found out the visa was fake, I just started hyperventilating. My chest tightened up. I had shortness of breath. I started running to the bathroom, vomiting. I just got on my phone and called 911. I'm having a heart attack. I trusted David, and I felt like I was deceived and betrayed.
David will be joining us later from Nigeria, but first, before he's listening, before I talk to him, I wanted to speak with Sherry, who's joining us virtually. Now, you are concerned not about whether David is real or not, because unlike some of the catfish stories we do, where it turns out that people are talking to a Nigerian who's stolen the ID of somebody on the internet, pretended to be that person, and given love letters and messages and stricken up a relationship with someone. That's not the case here, because this is a real person and you've met them, correct?
That is correct, Dr. Phil.
You guys met and talked for a year, and you had many face-to-face over the internet, and then you went to Nigeria, correct?
Yes, Dr. Phil. We were talking almost like every single day, and I saved up money and got a plane ticket and flew to Nigeria to meet my fiance.
Hey, do you want to be on the show? Click the link in the description and tell me what's going on in your life.